On this episode of The Pipeline, we'll be talking about the MCU variety news that came out, more delays coming over from Disney Plus, and we're going to be ranking all the upcoming MCU shows. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pipeline Podcast. I'm your host today, Daren Mcclimans. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day, and today we're here with Carl. Carl, how's it going?
Hey, I am doing good. So
great to have you here, man. I've been, you've obviously been on this long list of people that I've been wanting to have on for a while. I've seen you on my Twitter for many years now, so it's real great to have you on here, and we have a lot of things to talk about today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited to chat about everything that's been going down with the MCU, the Disney Plus MCU shows, and everything around that topic. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, no, it's been a weird, obviously we're currently still in this strike era of entertainment, just this entertainment whirlwind of everything, and it feels like these last couple months especially, but these last several weeks have been a lot of Marvel reconstructing what their brand is and everything that they've been going on. Obviously a couple weeks ago we had the big TV overhaul that they're going to be doing, and every couple months we're it's a new rewrite happening for this movie or this show. It's been a crazy couple of months for sure, but I'm very excited to talk about it all.
Yeah, get out there and just off your mind and see what everyone else thinks.
Absolutely. But yeah, let's just jump into our show today because we do have a lot to talk about, starting with our first segment. Alrighty, over here we have our wheel of questions I like to ask my guests. We have a wheel of very nerdy type questions, and yeah, let's jump into today's first question, or only question, I guess. So our question for this week are kind of similar to last week. What are two shows that you think would have a really cool crossover? So two separate shows that aren't any way part of each other that you think would be really cool to kind of see crossover with each other.
Okay, that's a hard question. Well, maybe if we're talking Disney Plus shows, let's see.
Oh, it could be any kind of show. Any show.
Okay. Right, maybe this would be a weird crossover, but it would work for Netflix. Mm-hmm. Maybe if we had Wednesday and Stranger Things meet, that'd
be fun.
Some fun dynamics there to explore with obviously Hawkins kids and Wednesday, and that might be a little fun thing. Maybe a big mystery and would bring them all together.
Sure. Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. I could definitely especially see Wednesday with a interesting back and forth, and both I feel like having a very similar dynamic and kind of vibe to them. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, definitely. That would be fun. And it would capitalize on Netflix's two most popular properties maybe at the minute. Of course.
Yeah, definitely. No, 100%. What's mine? There's so many that I could definitely see working. I think the one I always think of, I'm a huge Flash fan, and I always imagine Flash with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or at least early Flash with mid Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think would be really cool with your Star Labs group, with your Fitz and Simmons, and Mac with maybe your Joe or something. I think could be kind of cool.
Yes, that sounds interesting. Maybe Grant Gustin maybe as the Flash. Who knows? Mm-hmm. That might be fun. Yeah. Okay. I was just clarifying which version of the character.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that was definitely fun. And let's just jump into kind of our main articles today. Actually, let me say hi to the chat real quick. Stranger's here. Hello, Stranger. We got Taj. Taj Reacts in the house. How's it going? Yeah. All right, let's just jump in, man. First up on the docket here, we have some Disney news. I'm a big Disney guy. Love me some Disney. Again, Disney as a brand, again, it's been a really, really interesting time where, like, I am a big fan of the like properties that they make and like the things they put out, but obviously as a studio, it is hard to be like, yes, I love Disney. I love it that, you know, like they're filled with like very high corporate people that I just don't like supporting. And again, it's been a very interesting time with their products and what they've been putting out. So Pixar's Alu and Disney's Snow White have both been delayed till 2025. Are either of these projects that you are or were excited for to come out next year, or these kind of things that you're willing to wait? Are you not going to watch these at all?
I was interested in Elio, definitely. Snow White, after the whole interview scandal that went on where the film was trashed, that's when I was like, I'm done. I don't want to see it. You know? Yeah, I'm not surprised they've delayed them. Probably because of the strike, number one, and having people promote it. Yeah. And yeah, maybe the delay will do them both good. Who knows? Time sometimes helps with scandal and controversy behind things, like we've seen with West Side Story that came out. So yeah, definitely. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like, Pixar's always a studio that I'm always very excited for. Like, there's a lot of people that have very much, like, dogged on the studio the last couple of years. I've still enjoyed most of the things they've been able to put out. I've enjoyed at least most of them. So I was very excited for this. This kind of felt like a return to form for Pixar and, like, what they are kind of at their core. So I was excited for that. Snow White's a weird one. Where, you know, I definitely see both sides of the like controversy going on with her. I think she's a great actress. I love her work. Did she say a couple of things that I would not have said? Yes. I feel like what she said was probably not the smartest.
No.
But I also think there's that side of the internet that has turned these little comments and have like fired back at her 10 times worse and have become like what she said isn't even close to what they are doing to her. That it makes me so mad. And I think for that reason alone, I kind of want to see it just to be like, yeah, don't treat people like this. Don't do that. It's terrible. You know, they do that with every like popular female actor or actress, you know, whatever it is. So I mean, but like the film itself still is like I don't know how to like. I wouldn't say I'm excited for the film itself. Like Snow White isn't. I like Snow White. I am a big fan, and I am a fan of these like some of the live action reboots. Like I'm not fully against it, like a lot of people are. But I wouldn't say like at its core, it's one that I'm like super excited for. Did you see the like image that's been going around the last week that they posted with the like CGI dwarfs and stuff?
Yes, I have seen that. It's very uncanny because it's different. Like, I'll give it to Disney. They're not doing a page-for-page remake. It's different, which is good. You're not trying to copy the formula over and over again. Like, yeah, I think the image may have turned some people off it and maybe made some more people interested in it. Yeah, I mean, as you said, like, the internet blew it out of proportion. I seen rumors going around that they were scrapping the film entirely. I don't know if you've seen them rumors. And I was like, I don't know if the repercussions are that bad to kind of be like, yeah, we're done. Like completely scrap it? No. You've put work into it, you may as well release it. Even if they just released it on Disney Plus, who knows?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I mean, I think most of those rumors kind of get started again with those people that really want to get this movie shut down, and they recently announced that there's this like woke. I hate the word woke. You'll never hear me like I ironically use the word woke, but it's a not woke Snow White movie by this YouTube star, and it's like I don't think Disney cared. Like I don't think that's like that's not the like flex you think it is. I really don't think so. It's been a weird. The whole thing's very, very weird.
Yeah.
And I think Snow White's a weird one to in general, because like for months there was a big talk of like, well, is dwarfs offensive to like begin with? Like to have these like, oh, these like fake creatures are in your movie, and it's like, well, no, they're really real people. Like there are people like that in our real world. And of course there's going to be that side of it. And I do think that like this is one where it's almost like maybe the story is too old to be able to adapt. Like those golden age Disney movies was in such a different time. It was such a different era, and it is almost one that I think maybe should have been left in the past. Maybe it's just there's no good way to really adapt it in a healthy way.
Definitely. Like faithfully, no. Like you would offend so many people. So
yeah, it's rough. It's a weird situation. But I don't know. We'll see as that gets closer, and I guess we're gonna have to be waiting a while now. All right. Yeah. Moving on to our next topic. This was very fun. I didn't know if I should have brought this up or not, but I needed to. Honestly, I am on here. We are a big like Arrowverse, like CW fans. This is kind of how I got my start on here. So Ryan Reynolds and Grant Gustin star in a MNTN ad referencing Barry and Hal Jordan. This came out yesterday. I saw it on my Twitter, and I just saw Ryan Reynolds, Grant Gustin, and I got excited.
Yeah,
that's a duo I never thought we would see. And as I watched it, it just got better and better. Did you see this ad at all? Did you have any opinions
I did.
on this?
Yep. And I was like, he's back, you know? And the fact they referenced, like, obviously Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern, like Hal, I was like, and both of them together, like, that is just something I never thought I would see, ever. But I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, like, Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern movie, well, no, wasn't the greatest movie of all time, right? It was definitely hated by fans and critics alike. But I've always said that I think under different circumstances, Ryan as Green Lantern could have been cool. Like, I don't think it's a bad casting. Like, I do think he fits Hal very well. And this almost did make me want a world where we could see him get another chance at that role. Obviously, I don't think he ever would. I think, and I don't know if it's all just one long bit for him, and I think it is that too, but like it seems like he hates Green Lantern, and he knows it. Everyone knows it. He uses it as a bit. It's in the like Deadpool movies. Like he hates that role. Like, would there ever be a world, you think, where we would see Ryan Reynolds back as like Green Lantern?
Under the new DC, like DCU slate, probably not. No, unfortunately. Depending on how it does, if new ownership comes in again, which let's hope not. I maybe, but at the minute, no, I don't see it could ever happen. I only see Grant Gustin coming back as the Flash at any point there. So I mean, to have them kind of in this commercial referencing both of their past roles is probably the closest we'll get to have them interact in the DCU, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like it is all just for fun and giggles. The like full time, I don't think Ryan would ever come back. The only way Grant, I could definitely see coming back for like a short run if it's in your like Crisis on Earth, or like a Crisis on Infinite Earths or something. I could potentially see Ryan Reynolds doing like a quick cameo at some time in the future. I could see maybe if you do a Crisis, like he literally like dies on screen, and it's like that's the joke is that he's finally dead, his Green Lantern's done forever or something. That could be kind of fun. But yeah, it does make me kind of wish like what would these two look like on screen together as Flash and Green Lantern? It's definitely something very fun to think about.
What if? Like maybe a what if DC series? Who knows?
That'd be very fun.
That'd be fun. Yeah. I can see it.
All right, let's just move right along here then. So we're kind of moving into the like MCU stuff, and this is kind of where I think most of our topics today are going to kind of lean, because Again, like we talked about at the start, like the MCU is in a very weird place. I think it's, I don't want to say the word worst because I don't like that word, and I don't like throwing too much shade at the MCU because the internet does
Yeah.
that enough on its own. But I do think it's in a really muddy spot at the moment about what they're doing, what the future of their franchise looks like, where we're going with this saga. Obviously, we're in phase 5. This is like the second
Yeah.
phase in this post Endgame world. And we got a bunch of little tidbits at kind of like behind the curtains over at Marvel and what's going on and all that kind of fun stuff. So the first one's Blade. So are you like were you excited for the upcoming Blade movie?
Not really. I wasn't really excited for it.
Yeah.
I still would have checked it out, but
Mhm.
I wasn't like, I need to go see this, you know?
Sure.
Maybe if I seen some, stuff that
Anything.
made me
Yeah.
interested. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting
Sure.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean Blade. I think like Blade and Fantastic Four are in this similar spot for me, where it's like I was relatively looking forward to it when they announced it, like 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and since that time we've seen nothing. Each one have got multiple like directors, multiple writers, multiple resets, and obviously we've talked about it a lot in here, where this movie just kind of seemed cursed, and we're kind of seeing behind the curtains now that it kind of was like the writing process was such a mess. Our like main lead almost left the project. It seems like they've gone through many drafts of different writers and stuff, and now it's looking like Blade is looking to be set for 2025, and is now looking to have less than a budget than 100 million. Now, I think on first glance, this might be like, oh, it's losing a bunch of money. They're not putting as much into it. I think that's actually a really good thing. 100 million budget, I think, is what most of these MCU movies should do, because we're having these films with these 200, $300 million, sometimes 400 if it's that big, like the big like Avengers type movies. Like these movies are so expensive, and they are these superhero movies in general. If it's over at DC, if it's at Marvel, it's even Disney's losing millions upon millions of dollars because of these high budgets. I think this is a budget that they can 100% make back and profit on, and it's something that we should be doing more of 100%.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's similar, like, not to change topic because it kind of relates to this. But if you look at like studios like A24 or Blumhouse, they do smaller budgets and they make the budget back, sometimes like loads more.
Yes.
And the products they come out with are top notch,
Yeah.
So maybe Marvel should take a little bit of a note from them. But yeah, you're right. I agree. They shouldn't be going too high if they know it's not like a big thing like Spider-Man or someone well known, if that makes sense. Like if it's an unknown kind of character, or if it's something new that you're kind of a bit wary of, then don't throw all your eggs in the basket and ship it off, because you never know, you mightn't get them back.
100%. Yeah, no, 100%. Like again, this is, and I think this is like the like lesson of this entire year. Like every studio, it feels like every studio. I mean, look at The Flash that came out this year. Lost so much money, an insane amount of money. They would have made more money if they just never put it out. If they just never put that film out, we would have. It's insane. Again, like Disney's they're losing a lot of money. Disney's lost a lot of money from so many aspects of their. If it's the like Disney stuff, it's the Marvel stuff, it's even the like Star Wars stuff. Like everything is kind of at a weird space. And again, I think I think a lot of these movies don't need $300 million budgets, and you look at them and like. To like play the other side, a lot of these were COVID as well, and trying to like make movies during that, and that put a lot more on these budgets that we don't think about too often. But like again, I always bring things back to like the like CW shows. Those things had such a small budget. They they didn't have much to work with, and I think that's what made at least like the early things really, really good, is because they had like a limit to what they could do, but they pushed everything forward, and I think they made the best things that they possibly could with that.
Yeah.
So I would love that for like Marvel, like be the underdog, make this budget really work for like you, and push forward. I I would say.
Yeah. No, definitely. I agree. It kind of, you just brought up the Arrowverse there. Like, I remember the saying back when the Arrowverse was going strong, like
Yeah.
DC has TV and Marvel has like movies, you
Yeah.
know? I think Marvel could do that if they really, really wanted to and make the best product they could. And it'd be like kind of the Marvel's Arrowverse, obviously,
Yeah.
but the MCU, or something like that, you know? So I agree. They worked with what they had and they pulled it off. So what's to stop
Yeah.
Marvel?
Yeah. And like, again, like, we're gonna talk about the issues with Marvel. Like, I think their comeback is really easy, right? Obviously, there's a lot of people who aren't very happy with the current state of Marvel. I think they have everything in their corner to make that comeback happen. They have the audience, they have the fans, they have the money. The comeback is easy. I just think you gotta making these small changes to kind of, put yourself back on top. And like, this is maybe me being like too positive, but it seems like they are trying to get there. Like, the current writers are gone, and they hired the main Logan writer for this movie, and I think that's amazing. I love the Logan movie,
Yeah.
and like, that doesn't mean it's going to be a good movie. Like, you can have great writers make a bad thing. That's totally a thing. But I am hoping they're like in the right direction again, and hopefully putting more stock into what they're making, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Wholeheartedly with you. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, let's kind of go into this next thing a little bit. So this was one of the big like convos from yesterday. Everyone on Twitter freaking out about it. I'm freaking out about it a little bit. So there, and again, I want to say these are more or less kind of rumors. This is just kind of like a speculative piece. We can't say this is what they're doing. This is just something that they're kind of something they're thinking about, that they're talking about on their side of things. So Marvel plans for Kang the Conqueror are reportedly being reconsidered, with Doctor Doom being in the current conversation. So Kang's been a thing for a minute now. The MCU has really been pushing, obviously getting introduced in the first season of Loki, then going over to Ant-Man 3, and now is currently in this season of Loki, which I don't know if you're watching it, I'm currently loving Loki. This is my favorite thing with Kang as yet. So like, if Kang was ever at an all-time high for me, it's right now, because I think what they're doing with the character is really, really good. What are your kind of thoughts on this like Kang the Conqueror stuff? Because again, this has been a long time coming, almost a year now, with all of these like controversies. How are you kind of feeling about it all?
Yeah, it seems Marvel is relying very heavily on Kang. So if whatever's going on behind the scenes legally, whatever, is kind of influencing their choice, they mightn't have a choice there. It's kind of like, well, controversy could, plague Avengers Secret Wars and all the new Avengers movies, the two that Kang is meant to be the villain of. I mean, supposedly I had seen that they hadn't had, obviously with the writer's strike, they hadn't had time to rewrite anything. And now that the writer's strike is kind of wrapped up, they've started to kind of think, okay, we got to do something about this, I mean, I also did see a rumor. It's not a big rumor, but supposedly the final episode of Loki, season 2, will, like, there's no going back from it, basically. So, that's kind of worrying. Very worrying, because they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. You can't please everybody, but you're kind of risking your content being plagued with controversy, basically. So I'm loving the character as well. I think what they're doing with him is just very, very interesting, and I want to see where it goes. But I'm also kind of like, I don't know how they can go forward. To be honest with you, I'm worried for them. I'm kind of like, because it's a great character to have, but is it worth all the controversy that's going to come with it? You know?
Yeah. There's definitely, I think, a lot of angles to it all. I mean, my first thing would be like, hey, you can always recast Kang. Like, recasting is becoming more and more apparent in projects now. That would be my personal choice. I personally do not like the idea of spending 5 years building up a thing where you have several more years left of this kind of arc, if you will, just for them to be like, actually, we're doing something else now. Especially with Phase 4 and Phase 5 being like, especially Phase 4 being so long. Like, what, it's like 50, 60 hours of content or something. Like, it's an insane amount of time. For people who have watched it all, have spent so much time kind of like waiting for the arc to kind of get started and get moving. I personally do not like the idea of switching over. Now, Doctor Doom. Now, I love Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom is a phenomenal character. He was my pitch to be the next arc. Like, you know, like after the end game. Like, I thought like that would have been really, really cool if you did Doom. Not to say you still can't do Doom now. Like, I think you can have Doom and Kang at the same time. Like, Doom is a big part of like the like comics arcs and stuff like that as well. So you can still absolutely do Doom, but I think Kang has to be. I feel like you just have to kind of see it out by this point. Like, I feel like we're too far in. Now, should Majors keep playing the character? I would say if things are leading as it looks like they're leading, probably not. Doesn't seem like that would be their best choice of action. But I am also going to be curious how Loki ends, because that could be a thing where it's like, oh, you literally can't recast him now, depending on what they ultimately do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, as you were saying, like, recasting is becoming more common, and if they could do that, that would be great. You know, that would be great, because all the time they're going to spend building up to this to kind of go, as you said, like, yeah, we're actually going to do something different here, guys. You know, scrap all that. It would be a waste of time for the viewers, and I don't know if anyone could kind of still commit to it, because it'd be kind of like, well, this is what we're leading up to, and then you yank it away before you get to it. No. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like, they can recast it 100%. We'll have to wait and see how Loki season 2 ends, because then we'll know for definite. Oh, they can recast still. They can do that, or they can't.
Yeah.
You know. So we'll see. We will see.
Yeah. I don't know. It's such a rough, and I also think it just proved. And again, this one isn't so much on them.
Yeah.
But like, again, I think I'll save that thought, because I think our next topic is going to put that even further of kind of what the MCU is kind of going through, and it's definitely a very difficult time. Yeah. Do you have any kind of like final thoughts on this kind of like main idea?
Yeah, I hope it gets resolved soon, so us as kind of viewers know what's going on, whether that's via an article or via a post-credit scene or something like that, just so we have clarity. Okay, we know what they're doing now. Okay, cool. That's all I hope. That's the final thing I'm gonna add. So.
Daniel asks, fan casts for Doctor Doom. Do you have like a fan cast at all?
I do not. No, I actually don't. Unfortunately. Do you?
I am not good with fan castings. I think mainly because I'm not very good with actors and actors' names. Most of this question, whenever we get asked this question, normally I say someone new if you can, like someone I've never really heard of that can really like transform himself into the role. Like, again, I think Doctor Doom could and should be a major player in the MCU or in the future of like Marvel. I've said give him a show, let him like really breathe out who he is as a character, let him really thrive. Obviously, like he definitely can be a big threat for like Marvel. Like even if he isn't like a Kang and Thanos like level threat, he could definitely like be a major player. So again, like I would be very like, again, I like the idea of Doctor Doom. Just I don't think it should be like an instead of Kang situation.
No, it should be both, or maybe later, after Kang.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get what you mean. Yeah. So, yeah, that I agree with what you said about a fan cast, like someone new, someone undiscovered, someone who can bring something new to the table that we haven't seen.
Yeah, 100%. Robert said, "Would you swap out the character like discussion?" Or I mean, I would do the like recasting personally.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we're both on the recasting side. Taj React says it's too late to change villains. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Daniel said, I haven't stayed up to date with the Jonathan Majors legal situation, so I don't know that if he's to return. Yeah, it seems, again, like this is like an ongoing story each week. Trying to get like new tidbits of, but it seems like things aren't going well for Mr. Jonathan. It seems like things aren't on his side at the moment.
Yeah.
Daniel said, I love the fresh cut, Darren. Okay, let me talk about the haircut. I hate this haircut. I despise it. Normally I have like long curly hair. So I had a wig for like the holiday over the last weekend, and the wig just wouldn't fit over the hair. So last minute I had to like go to a place, and like this place kind of sucks. Like they don't give good haircuts. Like they're in and out 15 minutes. It's all I had, but I don't like how it turned out. But
it looks
what it is.
I'll be honest, it actually looks good. So don't be too worried about your hair. It looks good. I mean, it could be worse. It really could be worse. There's worse haircuts you could have, like maybe a buzz cut. I know I don't personally like buzz cuts. I had them before, so I know.
Yeah, I will never be like going with like the whole Lex Luthor vibe, I don't think.
Yeah. No.
Robert said, given the variant situation, I'd say recast is possible no matter what. Yeah, no, I mean I've said as of recent, I think it's one of the easier recastings to do. And again, it does depend on how they end it, but just say, oh, this new variant of Kang just looks different from all the other Kangs, and that's our new Kang, or like whatever it may be. 100%. Alriady. Moving into kind of our last main kind of topic today. This one's kind of roughed up the internet a little bit, and so bringing back the original 6 Avengers cast for a new movie is being rumored. Again, I want to say it's not even really rumored, just like they are talking about what that would look like over at Marvel and if that was possible. You give your kind of opinion on this, because I feel like I have a more like negative opinion on this than maybe some others might.
I think one of my negatives with the situation is obviously Tony Stark, his death kind of left repercussions over the MCU as a whole. And I feel by bringing him back, just playing out just whether he's a variant or bringing him back as like risen from the dead, let's just say, I think it erases all that stuff. Like obviously Peter Parker, like the third Spider-Man, like, sorry, I'm going back to Spider-Man, but the third Spider-Man kind of, it was the third one, I think. It's the one with the mural of Tony Stark, like, the mural that Peter kind of sits by. I felt that was a very meaningful moment where Peter says, like, everywhere he goes, he can see Mr. Stark, Tony Stark. So I think bringing him back, especially, like, would erase some stuff there. Also, I think maybe we should give new Avengers kind of a chance, a platform to kind of go there. That's how I feel about it. I personally don't think it should be done. Maybe if you wanted to make a feature-length What If episode on Disney Plus, I'd be game for that. But a whole movie? No, I don't think so. Like, mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm very similar. I mean, like, context is also, I think, a very important thing that we don't have. Like, I don't know what the storyline would be. I don't know where this would sit on the timeline. I don't know what they would do. But there's definitely several reasons why I personally would not want them to, like, bring back Tony Stark or bring back Nat or bring back
Yeah.
Steve. At least at this point in time, like Iron Man coming back was always a thing that I knew would happen eventually. I knew in like 10 years or so, or 15, whatever, like, he would come back as Iron Man, and Chris Evans come back Captain America. That was something I fully expected. This is just not a conversation I want to be having anytime soon.
Yeah.
Phase 4 was all about, like, replacing the Avengers, while bringing up new cast of characters. And that's something I'm very excited for. We have not had this time where, again, we're introducing all these really cool characters. And the cool thing about, like, the MCU and these shared universes is they get to mash up and they get to meet and they get to hang out and they get to fight together. And we have yet to actually see any of that. Like, again, I think Phase 4 has an incredible new cast of characters. We even have, like, the old characters that are still here that haven't met with the new characters. And, like, that's why I've been really excited for these upcoming, like, Avengers movies. And I think there's some really cool things that can happen there. And I think just the idea of wanting to bring them back in this capacity is, I don't love it. I don't love it.
I agree. Like you said, like, they are building up to stuff. Like, we have kind of coming up, like, the Marvels, like Miss Marvel is gonna be in that. She was in a Disney Plus show.
100%.
So it kind of connects them to, and it's starting to kind of feel like maybe bits and pieces are connecting now to form a bigger picture, which is good for Marvel. It's really good, and makes us feel like we're in kind of an interconnected universe, which, like, towards the end, I don't know if you remember this, like, towards the end of the Arrowverse, kind of, it started to feel a bit like, well, it's not that integrated anymore, because obviously COVID happened. They couldn't do crossovers. So it's kind of that situation, which I wish it had been more interconnected at the end, but Marvel is starting to do it now with, obviously, the Marvels and whatever else comes out. I'm like, I just want to see characters interact.
Yeah.
Like, from different properties, kind of, whether that's a Disney Plus show to a movie, I'm down for that. I want to see new interactions, not like the same old ones or repeated stuff, you know?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, you are so right. And I'm trying to find, like, okay, so what I think they're going to be doing, and I've thought about this for weeks, and again, like, even then I was like, I don't really want them to do this, but I think what they're going to do, and I think Secret Wars is going to be, and I don't know if you've heard it online at all, but there's been a big talk from everyone about, like, the MCU is getting rebooted. We're going to do, like, a soft reboot with the MCU. I think that's what this is here. And again, I'm not saying I like it, but I think what we're going to do is, at the end of Secret Wars, we're going to be doing a little bit of a reset. I think we're going to clean house a little bit. And I think the MCU wants to do a, like, traditional Marvel universe. We now have the X-Men in our abilities. We now have the Fantastic Four. And one thing that I've heard from fans, like, over the years, it's like, well, it kind of sucks that we can't have Tony Stark with, like, Wolverine, or, like, Captain America with, like, Mr. Fantastic, and now we have Spider-Man. Like, that's the thing, and I think they are building to a world where you can have Iron Man, Captain America, like, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, like, all kind of in the same lineup at the same time. If that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing, like, I think that's kind of what we're building towards.
No, I agree. I was going to add there, I don't know if you've seen it, but I seen a tweet today. If you haven't seen it, I'll send it to you once we're done this. But I seen something about they were going to have, I think it's Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Wolverine, and also Tom Holland's Spider-Man. They were going to rely on them 3 characters, and they were going to be the forefront, whatever. And the first, like, kind of thought in my head was, have we not kind of had this problem before where you relied on Spider-Man and then Sony were like, bye. You know,
Yeah.
and that would be my worry. I think you can't, unless you're 100% certain that you're going to have that character stay and he's going to be permanent. I wouldn't rely too heavily on that. I just, yeah. What do you think about that? If you've seen it.
No, I definitely have. I mean, like, we've heard that, like, Tom Holland was, like, is going to be kind of like the lead of the first, like, the like first Avengers movie, the like next one we're getting.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume that Marvel has very down packed in like the contracts if they're going as far to do that and have Spider-Man be such a massive part in kind of the future of the MCU. Obviously, we're getting the fourth Spider-Man movie. They're doing a lot with like the shows. I would assume that they have it. We're like, okay, we have it until this point in time. We have this movie, and this movie. They can't stop us no matter what. But I mean, no, that's a very good point. I'm fine with Spider-Man leading that
Yeah.
movie. I'm a bit mixed on the Secret Wars being like Toby and Hugh. Of course, though, like that's a lineup of characters I want to see. Like I think those two having like just a conversation together is
Yeah.
really cool. There is also this idea though, like it's like we have so many characters we could pull from. Do we really want to just go to the past, like go to the early 2000s? And of course, money, like people, like just to see those two in a room together, people are going to go to the theater. It's going to make so much money. But like, there's part of me that's like, well, Sam Wilson's supposed to be like our new kind of head of everything. Like he's Captain America now, and you know, maybe he still will be a massive part of this movie. I don't know. There's just so many characters, and I think that's the worry. Like, there's been like 60 new characters within like Phase 4 and 5. Like, there is so much, and it's like maybe that's why we have 2 movies instead of just one to split them up a little bit. But even then, like 30 and 30 or something is a large. That's a lot of characters to squeeze in.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I agree. And like you were saying earlier, that the second one obviously could result in a whole reboot, rebirth, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it might solve some of their problems. Like not every character might come back, or that would also kind of entitle them to make recasts if they really wanted to. Like, I mean, personally, like if they do that, I think like one of the characters that would be on the chopping block would probably be Captain Marvel. Like I think, you know, I'm just going off the top of my head, but I think that would be definitely something they might want to be like, okay, let's try a different take on her, you know? So.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's those things that come out where it's like she wants to quit the MCU, but I mean that's a whole other thing where it's like how much of that is like real and how much of that is like the trades wanting to push this agenda against her. Like Brie Larson has got so much hate and in my opinion for no real reason. Like she's just kind of living her life and people are making 20 videos a day about her. It's strange.
It is. No, I agree. I feel bad for her because I mean,
100%.
I this is like the most unpopular opinion I have, and that people might come for me. I enjoyed Captain Marvel. Like I didn't hate that movie. I enjoyed it, to be honest with you. And I kind of felt when they announced the Marvels, I was like, they don't trust her to lead another movie on her own. They don't. So they're putting like 2 other characters that we've seen before with her to kind of lead a movie. Like it's not called Captain Marvel 2, it's called The Marvels. So, you know, I feel bad for her. I mean, I hope they keep her, but I also am thinking like another reason might be money. Like as movies go on, actors want more money. So they might kind of be like, okay, we're going to go a different route with this character and bring someone new in who doesn't want as much money. Who knows? We're not obviously inside the room, so we can't tell what conversations are exactly being had. You know? So
I can definitely get that. And you know, there's been many Captain Marvels over the course of the comics and stuff. Like Monica has been Captain Marvel. We have her currently. There's been a lot of people who are like Rogue was Captain Marvel in the comics at one point in time, so that's obviously a thing. I guess it just like I think it really just comes down to if she wants to do more. Like
Yeah,
this movie is 100% an out for a lot of people, um, and I think it really comes down to I think there's going to be a large meeting, so many meetings when this happens of like who do we want, who wants to stick around, who's kind of like leaning in the in and out kind of area for a while,
yeah,
like all that kind of stuff. And I think again we definitely are going to be trimming the bushes a little bit. I think where this is going to get really really difficult, and there isn't a right and a wrong answer here, it's just about like kind of like what they decide to do, and it's going to get like it's
yeah,
kind of like a lose-lose. Is Black Panther, I think, is a really really tricky spot, because if you bring him back and do like a recast, that's going to be like, well, what was the point of like Wakanda Forever, and is it disrespectful to just get someone else in that role? And then there's the idea of like, well, we just gave it to Shuri, but then it's like, oh, but can there not be another black, like it's such a tricky line to cross. You just not
yeah.
do Black Panther at all, and then that's even worse because there should be a Black Panther. Black Panther is such an important character,
No,
so it's rough.
definitely.
It's tough.
I mean, yeah, like on the subject of Black Panther, I have it written down here just because I was like, the untitled Wakanda series that,
Yes.
that might shed a bit more light on the route they're going to go with that. Hopefully. But you're right, it is threading a very thin line of risky. That's what I'll say. It's
Yeah.
very risky to do that. I mean, you're gonna have people with pitchforks, like kind of being like, "How dare
No
you?" And
matter
then you're
what,
gonna have
yeah.
people be like, "Wait, let's see what they're gonna do with this." Um, yeah, I don't know. Who knows what they'll do if they completely reboot and rebirth the universe? Anything's possible. Any
Yeah.
character could come back at all, like with a different face, different actor. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or they could keep the same people. I think you're 100% right at the end, like being like, "Do you want to come back, or are you good?" I think that could be a conversation very much had in the
Yeah.
future, and some people might want to come back, and Marvel might be like, "Well, your solo project here didn't do so well."
Yeah.
Like it's that type of thing. Who knows? Who knows what they'll do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's characters I could see them keep going. Loki
Yeah.
is one of them. I could see Loki go on forever
Yeah.
as long as he's down to continue. So,
Loki is such an interesting one because like he's had such a journey up until this point. He's like
yeah,
15 years strong playing this character, and I'm still in love with this character. Like what they've done with him and how they kept him fresh is insane. I think he's going to play, like we're getting a little like off track here, but like I think he's going to play a big part in these Avengers movies. I think he's going to
yep,
be a proper Avenger. Like I think he's going to have a whole suit like with Sam Wilson and Spider-Man, and I think it's going to look really funny.
I agree. I agree. That would be the best thing. It might bring things kind of full circle in a way, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. That would be nice to
Yeah.
kind of see a payoff, a little bit of payoff to it. But you're right, he's had a journey, he's had character development, which is always good. We love character development. So yeah, I would love to see that. I 100% agree with you. That would be insane, and I hope that happens. I really hope that happens.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's kind of read this comment before we kind of move on to kind of our last thing here. So Robert said, this is so unfair and a slap in the face for the actors and directors and creatives involved since Endgame. Yeah. And again, I think it is, I think it really is all about context. Like, just the article and stuff that came out about like, oh, they're bringing back all the old Avengers. That like the first thing that comes to my mind when that happens is like, oh, that's so lazy. Like that's kind of so lame. But then you kind of have to take into the thing of like, oh, what Secret Wars and reboot, like that kind of goes into place. So there's so many angles, and again, context is going to be so important. Like they could do it, and we'd be like, oh my gosh, this was so well put together. They thought about the, like there's, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's a tough line. It really, really is.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, let's be kind of moving into our kind of final thing to talk about here. So again, we're talking about the future of like the MCU, and things are very kind of don't know what the whole future is. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago we talked about it a little bit. They said, hey, we're kind of redoing how we make our TV shows. We're kind of shifting it all up. We're getting real showrunners. We're making TV pilots, and we're making TV Bibles and all this kind of stuff. And that's very exciting. But I think the thing is, like, over the course of the next couple of years, we still have a lot of shows that were either announced to come out or coming out in kind of like the short kind of future. So here I have a tier list here. This is kind of like a little bit of a sequel to a stream we did about a month ago or so, where we ranked all the upcoming Marvel movies that were coming out. And here I have a list of all the kind of upcoming shows. So we have about 10 shows that I put down here. Some I didn't put down because I feel like they're kind of like in a weird place. Like, there's a Wakanda series happening, but we haven't heard anything about that for years now, it feels like. So I kind of left that aside. Also didn't help. We don't really know, like, we don't know who like the lead of that show is. Is it like Okoye? Is it Shir? Like, who's the lead? We don't really know anything about it at all. And we don't know some of the things about these shows, but I feel like we've heard more about some of these shows. Yeah, let's just kind of jump in here. First up, we have the Agatha series that comes out next fall, as we're hearing. This show has had 3 different titles, being the spin-off of the WandaVision series.
Yep.
What are your kind of thoughts on this show?
Well, you're right. It has had 3 name changes, and it currently sits at the Darkhold Diaries, from what I can see. Hopefully no more name changes. I'm really excited for it. I think Agatha is such an interesting villain, if you want to call her that. I don't know. I feel having her kind of have her own series, maybe it can explore why she is the way she is, or it could explore new stuff with her. Who knows? Like, it all kind of be new. But I'm very excited for it. I can't wait. I thought WandaVision was superb. So I hope this is kind of in the same vein, kind of, like, if that makes sense, quality-wise. I think it'll be great. You have some great people in there. You have Patti LuPone. You have Joe Locke. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I can't wait for our first look at it. So I would be very excited for that one. What about you?
I get this definitely a weird one, because I am very excited for the show. I think the show is going to be a lot of fun. There is that like side of my brain that's like, does this one need to happen? Like, there's that side of me that's like, there are so many projects, and this, the like constant thing of like, there's too much going on, there's too much to keep up with, and this is the one that feels, at least at this moment, it probably will lead to some really cool stuff, but it does kind of feel like it's kind of on its own, kind of in this like, we're just doing a spin-off to the show that people really liked, and it can kind of just do what he wants. Again, I think Catherine's an amazing actress. I think Agatha was one of my favorite parts of the WandaVision show. They keep saying it's like one of the like queerest like Marvel shows that we've ever had, and that's very exciting to me. But it's also very much like, but you said that about Love and Thunder as well, and you said this about Eternals as well, and it's like, them really were. So we'll see. Like, I hope they do. I hope it's good. I would probably put it at like a either low B or a C. Do you have like a place that like you think that you would put it at?
I would probably put it at a B. Yeah.
I can settle for B.
Okay.
There's also this thing in me too, where like I think the show's got so much hate that like the thing in me that's like, oh yeah, I think I want it to do well, because all these people are hating on it for, in my opinion, not a really valid reasons, especially since we don't know much about it at all, really.
You haven't seen anything really, and the name has changed 3 times, so interesting.
Up next here we have Marvel Zombies, which is I hear it's not a spin-off of What If, but it's kind of like in the same vein of what the spin-off of that one episode of What If was. Were you a fan of like that episode of like What If?
It was interesting. I mean, I don't know if a full series, like as you said about Agatha, I don't think it needed to be made into
Yeah.
kind of a full series. We've seen it in What If you want to do another episode kind
Yeah.
of similar, you could, but I don't know if it could hold a full series. I'm not sure. I mean, we'll see. I'm not too excited for it. I think I'll watch it, but I'm not like screaming for it, if that makes sense. So yeah, what do you think? Are you excited for it?
I'm not excited, but I wouldn't say I'm extremely excited. I mean, I think it was one of the weakest episodes of What If, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't bad. It was they did some fun things in there, and that's kind of been my thing with What If, where it's like, it was fun. I guess it was fine.
Yeah.
It's pretty low. It's probably in that kind of D or E kind of category. And
I
out of all
agree.
these, it is probably my least anticipated. Like, trying to look at these, I think it's kind of the one that I'm not too excited for. Although I think they could do some really cool stuff. Like, I think it's the most like comic booky out of all these, where it's like, it's just kind of like, in the comics there are so many of these like Elseworld what if stories where you could just be like,
Yeah.
yeah, over here we're telling a story about if they all became zombies, and now we're just making that to a show. And I think that's really cool, and I hope they do some cool stuff there.
Yeah.
But again, until we hear some more stuff, I'm not crazily
Yeah,
excited.
I agree. I agree.
I'd probably go with like an E. Would
Yeah,
you
I was
agree
gonna
with like an
say
E?
E. I was like, I don't want to step on your toes. E would
Yeah,
definitely
okay.
make sense for
Yeah.
me. But I mean, I could go for F or I could go for D. I think E is perfect though.
Okay. Next up we have Daredevil Born Again. Now, this is also another very, very tricky one, because like this would have probably been my most anticipated. I love the original show. Daredevil was amazing. I'm so excited for more Daredevil content. But again, we recently found out they fired all the writers. They were gonna kill off Foggy and Karen. He didn't suit up until like episode 4. It's this massive thing. Apparently, it was so bad that again they scrapped it. The whole show. It was like it was almost done. I think they got rid of it all, and they're like, okay, because of this is so bad, we're redoing how we do all of our shows going forward. So it couldn't have been good.
No.
Are you still excited for this show?
I'm still excited for the show to kind of see. I think the interviews, I think it was Vincent gave an interview, and he said that, trust us, like, they want to make the best show, they want to make it even better, like all that stuff. And that kind of gave me hope. I was like, okay, they are trying to make better content, they're trying to make it the best it can be. So I'm excited in that sense. I mean, there's still some things I'm not excited about. I've heard they are keeping maybe some footage from episode 1. I don't know if you heard that. Like, they don't want all the footage to go to waste.
Sure.
So I think if they keep some of the parts that are obviously killing off beloved characters, whatever, that would kind of upset me. I'd kind of be like, no, please don't do that. Please figure something out. Just, I would say I'm still excited for it. I think if the creative overhaul goes great, goes the way it should be, then we're going to have a really stellar show with a stellar cast and some stellar like action sequences, hopefully, and some storytelling. I would be very excited if that's the way it goes. So I will say I'm still excited. I just want to see how it goes, like with the first trailer, whenever that comes out. Won't be for a long while, but then I'll be able to be like, I'm going to be watching this, or I'm going to give it a chance. So I am excited. Yeah. How about you? Are you excited for it? Are you still as excited as you are?
I mean, I am very excited. I think it is probably still my most anticipated here, just because it is more Daredevil. Like, I think Charlie is such a master at this character. Daredevil, this was probably, if not my most anticipated, like, MCU project, like, in general. Like, I was so excited for the show.
Yeah.
I would say, though, like, in theory, I should be more excited than I have ever had, because, again, we have a showrunner now. It's getting a show Bible. Yeah. It's getting the showrunner from like the Punisher show, which I've got people very excited. obviously someone over there, like I know that wasn't like everybody's favorite show, but it's someone that
Yeah.
knew how to make a TV show and knew how to make great content. And kind of in the same world as like the like Netflix stuff. So that's very exciting. I think for the most part, Disney and Marvel know, at least Marvel and Kevin Feige, I think he knows how to read a room. I think he knows when like people really, really don't like this thing. Let's try and fix it. And I'm really hoping that they can get the Foggy and Karen people back. I know there's some people who don't like Karen, but she was such an important part of that show, and
no, I agree.
What made it what it is. And I hope they kind of get. I hope, and we did find out this week as well that it's not a like it's not a continuation of the last show, the previous show. But I don't think that's 100% like a deal breaker for me. Like I think if you just kind of like do your own thing, make it like I always kind of went in assuming it was like a soft reboot. Like I never expected it going like they were going to do everything that the Netflix show did, but like it was never going to be like a season 4. So I would still say it's like an A or B for. I'd probably put it at A for me.
No, I agree. I'm very excited. I hope, as you said, they can get the actors back. Some agreement can be reached, even if you're writing that character off. Like bring them back, give them closure or something. Don't just kind of be like they're dead. Bye. No.
It's so dumb. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I really don't.
No, I agree. Who knows?
All right, up next here we have Echo, which is kind of like I don't want to say the word prequel, but it is kind of like it was supposed to be this larger story with Daredevil. It's supposed to be Echo, Daredevil, and then maybe Spider-Man 4, what it sounded kind of like. Echo is the one. Echo gets so much hate among fans. Are you excited for Echo at all? Because again, a lot of people are not.
I am, because obviously Vincent's meant to be back in that, and we can always
Charlie
use
well.
more of him.
Yeah.
Yes. We can always use more of him. And obviously Daredevil, aka Charlie Cox. We can always use more of him. So I'm excited in that sense. I think with them two in it, it would definitely make it better. That's what gets me excited for it. I think they can take some interesting routes with that story. Kind of, as you said, prequel, bit of an origin story type thing. That would be fun to see. I don't know if it's entirely needed, but I am excited to see it. So yeah, I think if it's done right, it'll be amazing. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's one where like people say, well, who even is Echo? Why does she need a show? But like I would argue that just the fact that you don't know who she is and you know it, like all of these heroes in the MCU, you didn't really know who they were. Like look back to your Iron Man and your Thor. Like a lot of people didn't know who they were at first either, and I think that's very cool. And I think she's a character. I've talked about this a lot in here before, but it seems like it's going to be a superhero show like we've never had it before. Like we've never had like a superhero before. I think that's really, really cool. I do think it does kind of go somewhat lower for me, just for the fact that again we still don't know much about the show at all outside of like Daredevil and Kingpin's there, and it's been such a struggle for me because I don't just want to say I'm excited because of Daredevil and Kingpin, because again it's not their show, right?
No, it's not. But I mean, I think they could add to it. I think like I'm excited to see obviously Echo, and as you said, people are saying, oh, who is she? Why does she need a show? Not like if you look back, all the kind of MCU heroes started off with basics, if that makes sense. And I think this is Echo's start with a basic, and I think if it's done right, people could really fall in love with the character. So yeah,
I would probably put it at like a C personally.
Yeah, we definitely need to find out more when that is available, and then obviously people can make their minds up from there. Don't trash it before you see it.
Yeah, it was that. And apparently a trailer is coming out this week. Apparently, either this week or next week. So hopefully we'll have something to go off of soon. All right, next year we have Wonder Man. Now, Wonder Man, I almost didn't put this one on here because we haven't. It's been a weird one because it hasn't even official. It's been announced, but it hasn't, like, from Kevin Feige himself. It hasn't been like it's happening. Like 2024, you know, like we haven't had a thing. We've heard it's not going to come out till like 2025, 2026. There's even been rumors that they're going to just like kind of shelf it. What are you like a fan of this character in general? Because I'll be honest, I am not I don't know much about the like Wonder Man character from the comics.
I am kind of the same. I'm in the same position. I think if done right, like I know I've said this, but if done right, it could be interesting. I don't personally think it's for me. I personally don't think it's for me. And as you said, we haven't really heard anything about it, so there's nothing to kind of go on for me to kind of be like, I'm so excited for this, but I'm also not going to sit there and go, I want nothing. I don't want to hear about this, you know, because it could be interesting. Who knows? We don't know anything about it. So until there's public knowledge on it, I'm going to say I'm going to see how it goes. I'll check it out. That's all I can do. I mean, yeah, I'm not excited, but I'm not overly excited.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think I'm in that same boat. We're just kind of like waiting for more stuff to come out. Like it's not, and again, I think it's a very cool like echo place where like these adaptations. I want to read comics more than I do. I always buy them. I never read them as much as I want to. So these adaptations are always a cool way for me to learn about a new character that I've never met before, and I think that's cool. And I think Wonder Man's going to do that for a lot of people. I would, at this point in time, put it in like a D or an E. Yeah. So you're good with like a D?
I'm good with E, yeah. Sure.
Okay. Alrighty. All right, next up we have X-Men 97. So did you watch the like original X-Men show at all?
Yes. I'm excited it's going to pick up where that left off. Yeah. So I think the story roots are going to be interesting. I'm definitely excited for this one, and it'll give us some X-Men stuff to kind of tie us over until like kind of we get them properly, you know? Yeah. So I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to see what they do with it. And the fact it's called X-Men 97 is just a very awesome name.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, like the X-Men, like this, like that show was the first superhero thing I ever really watched. So I have such an attachment to it. But like it was a show that like I watched it as a kid, and I was looking back at it now, and I was like, I don't remember any of that show. So I'm actually currently like rewatching it for the first time in like 17 years or something. Like it's been a long time since I've actually seen it, and like it's such a good show. Like I'm shocked how good of a show it is. It's so good. I'm loving watching it so much. And I think this is a lot of this kind of stuff, like kind of like the like Marvel Zombies, where I think it is a lot of the cool things that Marvel can be doing. I like being able to explore not just the prime Marvel timeline. Like I love the MCU, of course, but like I'm excited that we can do more than just the MCU. And I have a feeling they might cross over with the, you know, with this saga, you know, like what it is. They probably cross over with each other and bring those characters in, but I'm very excited for it. I'm excited to see what they do. And it comes out really soon, like the beginning of next year, it seems. So we got some fun stuff in store for sure. Where would you put this one?
I'm gonna say B. It would be a B for me.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's not as high as Daredevil for me as just on the hype scale. It's, you know, what Daredevil is, but yeah, I think I'm pretty excited. All right, next up here we have Vision Quest. So this is kind of in the same era of the like Wonder Man show, but I think the thing this has kind of above that is that we do know about Vision, right? Vision's been around for quite a long time. How are you kind of feeling about Vision Quest?
Well, I mean, I'm wondering how it's going to be done. I really am, because obviously the last we kind of seen Vision, he was in WandaVision. So I'm wondering which way they're going to go with it. I think it could go either way. It could be great, but it could be
It
terrible.
could be anything. Yeah.
I don't know if we need to kind of have it as a series. Maybe a one-off special on Disney Plus, or maybe not at all. I'm not really sure. I would say it's very interesting, and I'll definitely check it out. I will definitely check that one out. But I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about it because there isn't very much information out like
Yeah.
some of the other projects. So yeah, it's interesting. What are your thoughts on it? Like, what do you think they could achieve with it? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the idea of Vision getting his own kind of project. I really enjoy Vision. I think he's one of the more like underrated MCU characters.
Yeah,
I'm with you though. I do think it's kind of in that category with like, you're like Agatha, where it's like, well, does he really need it? Like, again, I love getting all these projects, but there is definitely
yeah,
that among people where it's too much content. And if there was like a hey, you have to get rid of a couple of these projects, Vision Quest would probably be at the top of my list of like, yeah, that one might
yeah.
have to go. I've talked about this a bit on here, but I think the MCU should, and I don't mean to go back to the Arrowverse, but like what they did really well was like they had these like 4 or 5 shows, and they told other character stories like within their shows. So not every character needed their own show, and I think Vision
No,
could be a character that can tell their story in someone else's story.
yeah,
Um, if that's combining like Agatha and Vision, if that's putting Vision in like Wonder Man, or I don't know, something random. Like I
yeah.
feel like there's other places for Vision for sure. It also doesn't help that we don't even have the thought of what the show's about. Like our Vision is currently dead, right? This is like a
Mhm.
white Vision. We don't know what he's like, where he's at, what he's doing. And again, I'm very curious to find out because again, I love Vision, but
Yeah,
it's definitely a tricky one to say where like what the show is even going to be about and what's its kind of tone going to be.
yeah. No, I agree. It's I think he could tell his story in another show.
Yeah,
I agree with that. And not every character needs their own spin-off. Like,
yeah, 100%.
so many spin-offs have failed because of that, because the character, yeah, we love the character, they're great, but sometimes they can't hold the spin-off.
Yeah,
Like, you can't take sometimes like the comedic character. We seen Joey from Friends got his own spin-off, and that was not good. Patrick from SpongeBob has his own spin-off. You know, it doesn't always work. So sometimes it's better if they stay the side character in someone else's story,
yeah,
but their story also gets told, if that makes sense. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think he could tell his story in someone else's spinoff, whether that's Agatha's or
mm.
someone else. You know, I don't think he needs his own Vision Quest show. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And also, like,
yeah,
there's like I think the fact that you have Agatha and Vision, there's a part of it that just says do WandaVision season 2. Like
yeah,
all these characters' story. Like I know Wanda's dead. She's not dead, but like she's
yeah.
dead. And just do a second season of WandaVision and carry out this character story there. I feel like that's definitely something you could do.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. And WandaVision did really well. It was something they
yeah,
did really well. So, I mean, you have a formula with that show, repeat it, and,
yeah,
tell something interesting in that show. Vision, Agatha, there you go. You're
yeah, 100%.
that should be the pitch. You should pitch it.
Where are you kind of thinking for
I'm gonna say F.
F?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting, interesting.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Mhm.
I that's personally how I feel because I
Sure.
don't think it's needed. I
Yeah.
really don't.
So,
I do like I love the character. Don't get me wrong, I love him, but I just don't think he needs his own show. There's too
sure.
many. Like
Yeah,
too many shows is just gonna result in quality kind of dipping at some point. So
sure. So I think I was gonna say D. So how about we meet in the middle and say
yeah,
E then? Okay.
okay, yeah,
Okay, fair enough. All right, we're down to the final three here. We have Ironheart, which we met in the Wakanda Forever movie. How you feeling on this one? Because I feel like this is another one I'm very very mixed on.
well. I think the character of Riri is very interesting. Number one, I personally am excited for the show. I'm really excited for it. I think there's many avenues they could go. I heard people kind of throwing around that maybe possibly the new, like she could be kind of the new kind of Iron Man, like new kind of that, fill that void. So I'm very excited for her. I'm excited for the show. I can't really say anything bad about it. I know we haven't heard too much, but I'm excited for it. I think it'll do well. I really do think so. I think it'll do well. That's my opinion on it. But yeah, what about you? Are you excited for it, or is it something?
I am really excited. I think this is a character. I think you could do a lot. I think she feels like a character that is very well fit for like a spinoff, right? She like you introduce her here, and then she's going to go off and have her own stuff. It is definitely one that we've said, like, does she need her own project? Does she need her own space? I would say I'm excited, but I think also the fact that it is so far away, like it's like late 2025, and it's like that's going to be like 5 years after we met her. Will we even remember her? Is it still relevant? I would say it's kind of in a similar spot to Echo, where I am excited, but there's definitely part of me that's a little weary. Like we've heard some of the characters that are going to be involved are also very excited to be the very like magic-based show, which sounds like it could be a lot of fun. This like technology versus magic type story could be kind of fun. We heard it might tie into the Rhodey-led movie, which I am excited for. So I would say personally for me it'd be like a C.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down for that. Yeah, I agree. Okay. I think it'll be a very interesting show. It is very long. It's very far away, and it's kind of. You're correct. Will we remember her? Like I know I will because I'm interested. Yeah. But the people who don't know about this happening, who aren't so kind of looking for stuff or seeing it, they might forget she exists. They might forget this show is coming. Like. You know, it's kind of a risky move, but I am excited for it nonetheless. So, yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we have Spider-Man Freshman Year, which is like the animated kind of what-if style show about Spider-Man. This is another one I'm very excited for, like purely just for fact. It's another Spider-Man show. It's this kind of out there story. It's not in the MCU. It's not connected. I think it was to start off. Like they did it as like, oh, it's a prequel to like the Homecoming trilogy and stuff like that. It's gonna pick up and it's gonna have like Matt Murdock's gonna be there. And there's all this kind of fun stuff. How are you kind of feeling about this one?
I think another animated Spider-Man show cannot hurt. Like, they have been good in the past. There have been some weird ones, like AKA Drake Bell voicing Peter Parker. But okay, you know, I think with the stuff we've seen some kind of the costumes and we've seen the characters. I think this could be really well done. I think I've wanted another Spider-Man show. Like, I mean, I need some Spider-Man to tide me over. Spider-Man 2 just came out, like, the PS5 game. So, we're not getting, like, more Spider-Man in the MCU for a little bit. Yeah. So I will settle for this. I think it's going to be good. It's been renewed for a second season, which is going to be titled Sophomore Year, I think they're titling it. That's going to be interesting. So they already have confidence in it to renew it. So I think that says something about it itself. So I'm excited. I think this would be one of my most exciting ones. This is what I'm most excited for, other than Daredevil and the other ones that we have discussed that I'm really excited for. This is my most one. I'm really excited for this one.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to... I'm kind of with you. Like, I am very excited for this one. It's kind of up there with like Daredevil for me and like the X-Men. I think you are right. Like, I just finished the like second Spider-Man game. Love Spider-Man. Like, I really like. I love the just like the simpleness of those games and of Spider-Man, and I think it feels like it's really going back to its core of what Spider-Man is, and this really fun, like, this feels, again, it just feels like it's like jumped out of the comic books. Like, it just feels like it looks like you're about to be watching a comic book come to life, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And again, like, for Spider-Man, I love getting, like, every new Spider-Man that we get. It's always very exciting to kind of see what this take on a character is going to be, and how is Uncle Ben going to die this time, and all that kind of fun stuff. I would probably put it up either like a high B or like a low A, I would say.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm with you at that. I wouldn't go any lower than a B for this one. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it. You know, I think, as you said, it's like a comic book coming to life. I think the style they have chosen for this show is perfect. You know, I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And then lastly here, which is going to be the next upcoming show after Loki, next month. It's kind of insane to think that it's next month. Is What If Season 2, the second season that we've ever gotten. What's your opinion on just like What If as a whole? Because I feel like people either love What If or kind of dislike What If. It's a weird one for sure.
Well, what I like about What If, right? This is my personal opinion, so it's very much just I think telling stories where you're not relying on messing up continuity is great. Like, I think you can do things you couldn't do if you had continuity hanging over it, you know? You can't do stuff. So I like What If. I think it's interesting. I mean, I think there's some great things about it. I think there's some not so great things about it. I mean, they can't always get the actor back who played the character in the MCU, which can be a bit disjointed. But I'm excited for it. I want to see what they do this season. I'm excited for that. So bring it on. I'm ready for it.
Where would you put it?
Where would I put it? Okay, let's see. For me, I would put it maybe C, maybe D. That's where I would go. Like, it's not up there with Spider-Man and Daredevil, but it's not down with kind of the ones we've put in E. So I would say maybe D, maybe C. That's where I would put it, like somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'm thinking D as well. I had a lot of fun with like What If the first season. I'm not clamoring for more What If content. I'm so excited, you know.
Yeah.
It was a fun time, and it, you know, like, I think What If was always a hard show to kind of like rank and like really talk about like the quality of What If, because again, each one is something different. Like, I literally think it has the scale of the MCU, where like some of those early episodes, like, I love the like Doctor Strange one, I love the like Black Panther Star-Lord one, I love the kind of final bits with like Ultron, like that stuff is really good. And then there are some, like, there's a zombie episode, and then there's like the Thor Captain Marvel one, and I'm just like, you know, like it's a scale. And I'll be honest, there's not, like, out of the stories we've heard coming for season 2, there's not one that jumps out at me. Like, they're all kind of just sounds like, okay, we'll see how it is. Like in the first season, there was a lot. There's like, oh, that sounds really fun and really interesting. Season 2 currently doesn't have that for me. No. But again, I could be wrong. Like, it could be like, oh, they're hiding, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, like, there's the like Christmas episode with like Happy Hogan, and then there's like I don't know, like, it's just kind of there for. I would probably say D. I'm probably more excited than Zombies. But I wouldn't say it's on the level as like Echo or Ironheart for me personally.
No, I agree. I think that's a good place for it, you know?
Yeah, no, I like this.
You know, it could be great, could be bad. Yeah. Who knows? Hit or miss. Like, different episodes, some could be great, some could be not so great. You know, you just kind of got to take each one for what it is and see how you feel.
Absolutely. And What If was, I think you are right about the season 3 thing. Which I actually kind of forgot about, because it's been so, like, this show was supposed to come out like a year and a half ago, like this season.
Yeah.
So it's keep putting it off, and I think that doesn't help my excitement for it either. Like, it's been so long since 2021 since we've seen it, and it's almost 2024 like comes out. Like, that doesn't help.
No.
in the least.
No, definitely people lose interest. Like, I mean, like, not to kind of go on a bit, but thinking about it, like, if you've seen what some of the shows are doing at the minute, I could name 2 like that have split their seasons in half because they're not finished. Chucky season 3 split in half. The newest season of American Horror Story split in half.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think that's the best idea.
Yeah.
Because viewers lose interest. Like, I'm sorry if what they're saying is true with the next part of Chucky season 3 not airing till next October.
Wow.
You know, like that's really bad. Like, 4 episodes came out, cliffhanger, and you're kind of like, you can't leave us hanging like that for a whole year. Like, I know the strikes are going on, but like, you know,
tough.
It is. No, definitely. I'm glad Marvel are not doing that, and I hope they don't intend to, because that could really hinder viewership. Like, that's what I think it'll do in the long run.
It's tough with them because they only really have like half a season. It's always like 6 episodes, 8 episodes. Yeah. Like, they don't. I can't imagine doing 3 episodes and then waiting a year. Like, that's absurd.
No, I'm like thinking like Chucky has 8 episodes this season, and
gosh, a 4 and 4 split. It sounds terrible.
What's really bad about it is, like, production wise, is episodes 5 and 6, they had like a day left on them to finish.
Oh wow, okay.
7 and 8, they had a week. Like, it's a 7 and 8 are shot, and it's kind of like, oh, okay, I get it, but I'm also like nervous. I'm kind of like, am I going to be interested in watching it next year? I'm not sure. You know? So we'll see. So yeah.
So with that being said, we are heading towards the end of the stream. We do have one final thing to do, and that's one of my favorite segments of the show. Daren's joke of the day. I'm a big fan of like bad dad jokes. I always like to end our streams like this. So here's this week's joke of the day. So my girlfriend and I haven't gone to the gym in over a year. Our relationship just isn't working out. It's real. It's just isn't working out. And just like that, we're done.
Oh, okay. That actually is funny. That's actually funny. Bravo.
That was very awkward. I was like, okay, we're moving on.
Sorry, it took a minute. I'm sorry. I was like thinking, I thought there was just going to be like a big punchline and you were going to have drums playing or something, but I got it.
No,
so, Jim.
No, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. No. But thank you for coming on here, man. This was a lot of fun talking to you. So much fun stuff. Do you have anything that you want to like promo, shout out, any of that kind of stuff?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So maybe I'll have to have you on my podcast with my best friend Hannah. We have a podcast called Backstage Chit Chat. You can find us on Instagram and Spotify. And we usually have actors, singers, dancers, producers on, agents, whoever is willing to come on, we have them on. But our 2 most recent episodes are really, really good. I'm so proud of how they turned out. So if you want to check them out on Spotify, please do. But Daren, thank you for having me on. I loved having this conversation with you. It was really good, really fun. Even the dad joke was funny. So slay that. That was iconic. So
yes, thank you. We will have to put that podcast link down below. I'll have to remember to do that. I know currently your TikTok is linked, your Twitter is linked, all that kind of fun stuff. And but thank you. As far as my side, we should be back next Thursday. I think we're finally talking about Spider-Man 2, which I'm very excited to talk about. That should be a lot of fun. But yeah, without further ado, I will see y'all on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Bye.